If we have, just to start that sentence back over, if we have positive affirmations, then it can't hurt us. If we set our mindset to, be positive, it has to positively affect our health. I think about that movement where we breathe, where we inhale up and then we exhale down, and that how we can incorporate that positive affirmation, like I'm gathering all of these good things, or I'm thinking about all the good things that are in my life, or all the, something good. I'm gathering good. And then I'm pushing away anything that's kind of clouding my mind, anything that's kind of like, messing me up, making me angry, just pushing that away, inhaling and exhaling, positive, negative. Even you can think about the air in your lungs. When you inhale, you're inhaling good, clean air. And when you exhale, you're exhaling any of that dirty air that's kind of gotten stuck down there in the bottom of your lungs. And that's kind of a positive affirmation. Dr. Lamb has a program that's called Tai Chi for Rehabilitation. I'm not trained in it, but from what I understand, I think I would really like it because it's positive affirmations. And so, did you ever watch Saturday Night Live back whenever it was good?
Yeah, I loved it back then. Yep. Yeah, come on at 11 o'clock.
It's not, I don't think it's any good anymore. Like now people are too like sensitive. They get mad about things. Back then they could just say anything for the sake of humor, and that's just the way it was. It's a whole different world now. But back then they had
It was hilarious.
it was hilarious. Golly, people got too soft on us. It was affirmations by something Smiley. Do you remember that? Well, anyway, he would say, "'Cause I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me." So it was like daily affirmations with somebody Smiley, and that's how he would always end it. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. So when we go out into the world with a positive affirmation, it really changes our outlook. And so if Tai Chi for Rehabilitation involves our outlook and the thoughts and the words that we say to ourselves, then hey, I think we can maybe replicate that, whether we're sitting down and just inhaling, exhaling, whether we're tapping our eyebrows or tapping our temples or underneath our chin, whatever we're doing, as long as we're absorbing those positive thoughts, then I think we'll be better for it. So that's just a personal challenge to you as you go forth through to this day, and just trying to bring in those positive thoughts, because it's so easy to let ourselves get lost sometimes in the negative, in the things that make us angry, or in the things that we don't think is fair, or sickness, or whatever it is. So we just make that personal choice. All right, so let's Tai Chi, unless you have anything to add to that. I don't know, we call it mumbo jumbo.
Nah, it was pretty good.
I guess that's just a reminder. Of course it's a good conversation, but it comes from my personal experience with not letting the outside world get to me, because there's too much good to let anything bad bring me down. And if I can help somebody else feel that way too, then I think I've done something good for the day. I can put a star by my name.
They'll put a star by there.
Because you know, if we just all start trying to be a positive light, the world will be better for it. All right, so Mr. James, before I forget, what size of shirt do you wear?
Oh God, I had it wrote down. I think it's a 2X.
2X. Okay. Well, I didn't have note on my paper. And for anybody who has come to at least 10 classes, I'm going to send a t-shirt to.
All right, let me check on my size real quick.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I was right. 2XL.
That sounds good. Well, I'll be putting your shirt in the mail very shortly, and it's a Tai Chi shirt that I had designed that has our principles on the back, and on the front it has a yin yang, and it says seeking balance every day, Tai Chi for falls prevention. And you know what that yin yang is? The yin yang, you know what I'm talking about when I tell you, say yin yang, what it looks like?
I've heard it.
Okay, I'm going to draw probably a really bad picture. So it kind of looks like this, and it goes. That's not a real good picture, but it's something like this. And it'll be like black, and then the other side will be white. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not a good artist, but it has a yin yang on the front, and the yin yang is that. Okay. So, like I said, one side will be colored or black, and this side will be white, and then this little dot will be colored, and then in the dark one, this circle will be white. And so, what it's saying that in life we have good and we have bad. And within the bad, there's good. And within the good, there's bad.
Okay,
that's kind of a Chinese thing, is the yin yang. And isn't that so true? And it goes back to what I was just talking about with words of affirmation and, you know, just making the choices and dealing with what we're dealt. And just knowing it's not going to be hunky-dory all the time. There's always going to be the good and the bad.
I learned something today.
Bad and the good.
I learned something today.
There you go. Now you know what that yin yang is for. And so the shirt has a yin yang on the front, and then the back, it has our principles, and then it says namaste. So those are some shirts I had designed for the people who come to at least 10 classes. So there you go. And now everybody who didn't come to 10 classes are going, oh, sure. So you have to, if you didn't earn a shirt, you'll have to sign up again and come in August, and maybe you can earn a shirt next time. So I'm just walking around. It probably looks like I'm just fidgeting, but that's what I'm doing, walking around, opening and closing my hands, just getting my body warmed up and ready to do some movement. Because we know before we exercise, we want to warm up those muscles. Generally, we want to do a warm up that involves the muscles that we're going to be using in our exercise. And so in Tai Chi, we do a lot of weight shifting from side to side. So walking around is appropriate. We do a little arm and shoulder movement. So pumping and open our hands, that just gets that blood flowing, get our bodies warmed up. So that's something we do every time. And then we start with our warm-up stretches, and therefore our major joints from our head from our neck to our ankles. So let's start with our neck. We have our hands to our side. We bring our hands up towards our chin and chest. Push away from and follow those hands all the way down, feeling that stretch in the back of your neck. Inhale up towards our chin and chest. Push away and follow those hands all the way down. Now we're going side to side, just looking over that shoulder, stretching our neck in another way. Come back to center. Now let's do our shoulders. Hands on our to the sides of our legs, and we're just rolling those shoulders forward. And then rolling those shoulders back.
That one feels real good, don't it?
Yeah, that's like a massage you give yourself. I think as my day has gone on, all my muscles have gotten more and more sore because I feel even my tricep muscles in my arms when I do this stretch movement. I guess I'm hard on my body. Bring those hands up, push those hands down. But I'm afraid if I don't use them, I'll lose them. Excuse me. That wasn't very nice to yawn about that time of day, though, when your body says siesta, which means we need to take a nap, I think is what siesta is.
That's right.
In the Latino culture, I guess, that's what they do from 2 to 4 in the afternoon is take siesta. Their businesses even close down. All right, our spine. So we're separating our hands, stretching that spine, coming back to our ball, and switch. Let's go side to side, stretching our spine horizontally. Now for our hips, I think I need to move my legs a little bit closer. I realized they were maybe a little bit wide. So as I shift the weight to one leg, for me to be way out here, that was a little too far. But because I was only moving my upper body, that was okay to support my body. But to shift weight, that was too far. So just always pay attention to your body and what it's telling you. I probably saw it on the screen more than I felt it, but I hadn't started the weight shifting yet. So let's shift weight to one leg, put our heel out, hands back, pause in the middle, and toe back, hands forward. Stabilizer leg is working hard, holding our weight as we move this other leg. And that's where magic is really happening, making those muscles strong. Let's shift weight to the other leg, heel forward, hands back. So until we did our seated Tai Chi, we thought this was the most challenging movements, but we realized that seated Tai Chi, woo, all that leg pumping really did wear those muscles out. That helps them get stronger to be able to stand up and do some weight shifting. Just different forms of doing that exercise. Now let's shift the weight and tap that toe out. Change our hands, keeping our upright posture. And our hands are like we're pushing a wall or open a curtain, staying within our frame. Continuing to breathe as we move. Now for our knees, I'm going to back up so you can make sure you can see my feet. Shift the weight, lift, tap and punch that opposite arm out. Bring it back, shift, lift, tap and punch. Now let's step out, shift the weight, step, small step, keeping both feet on the floor, shifting weight, just a little bit of weight to that front foot, keeping our bodies upright, bring it back, feet side by side, shift, step, shift and punch, bring it back, side by side, shift, step, shift and punch, bring it back, side by side. All right, now for our ankles, shift and heel toe. Bring it back, shift and heel toe with the other foot. Shift and big toe, little toe. And then shift and other foot, little toe, big toe. Flexibility of that ankle. All right, give yourself a little shake. Get my water, get me a drink. Oh gosh, I'm out of water. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Who let her in without water? I will tell y'all this. I have this cup. It's a Yeti brand of a cup. I don't know if y'all know about Yeti, but some of it's kind of overpriced.
Oh, they're real high.
Now this bottle right here, this one that holds a gallon, it costs $30 from Walmart. It's the Walmart brand called Ozark Trail, and it will keep my water cold all day long.
When I used to work, I carried one about that size, but it was plastic.
Yeah, like an igloo brand.
Like that, but real big. I fill
Yeah.
it up with ice and water, so I drink it all day.
Well, I have got the good out of it. It has not let me down. That's from Walmart. This Yeti one, let's just say it costs $30 from, and it's only this big. Well, this lid, you see how it has little screws on it or threads, so it screws on, and you can drink this like a bottle. My threads went bad, and it would just sit there and like spin. It would never close, and I was furious because they don't cost they're expensive. But I contacted Yeti, and they sent me a new one.
Yay for them.
So
Yeah.
yay for Yeti. I give them a point.
Yep.
All right. So water is so important. So, carry it around everywhere you go. Don't wait until you're thirsty to drink. A lot of times as we get older, we don't get thirsty like we used to. So just make sure you're always drinking water. It's good for you. Right. It's good for lots of things.
I got one question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the exercise that when we step out with your leg and punch the arm, when you step out, do you put your weight on, say if you're punching with your right and your left knee's out, do you put your weight on your knee out there?
Yeah, you shift the weight,
okay,
but you still have weight back here.
Yeah, but you make sure you put weight out there too.
You give weight to that front foot.
You make sure I was doing it right.
Yeah, that's right. You just give a little bit of weight to that front foot. You still have weight back here, and you keep your feet flat on the floor the whole time. Because if you lift that back foot up, then it starts projecting you forward, and that gets you off balance.
That's right.
Feet on the ground you. And another rule is for your knee to not go in front of your toe. And you're probably not going to do that because it will hurt you if you did it. But
that's right. Just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
So yeah, you give it a little bit of weight, but you still have weight back here. So that's a very good question, and it's not always easy to see when you just watch the movement. So it's good that you ask, because first and foremost is safety. We want to protect your joints, not do anything to hurt your joints. And that's our goal here, is to protect our joints. That's where we most often get arthritis, is our knees, our hips, our weight-bearing joints. So we especially take care of those. All right, so we're going to go to our basic 6. So I'll talk you through them, and you let me know if you have any questions. So I'm going to do mirror image. Nice stable stance, keeping in mind of my principles of an upright posture, that as I go through these movements, my movement is slow, it's smooth, it's continuous. Throughout I have weight transfer, and when I step empty, which means I don't immediately give it weight. Then I do give it weight. I have a choice to add gentle resistance to add to my movements, which could be like moving through the air as if it were heavy. So I'm utilizing muscles I don't necessarily have to. Another is song joints. So my joints are open. I have the soft bend in my elbows and my knees. I'm not locking my joints. I'm allowing energy to flow. And then if you can ever experience Jing, which is mental quietness, and that's hard to do in class. So I try to give us an opportunity to do it without talking, So we can just kind of go with the flow of these movements without all the words mumbling this or filling the space. That's something internal that we can experience with Tai Chi. So keeping principles in mind, focus on whatever you may. Let's go through the movements. I'll talk you through them. Here we go. And commence. Hands come up and down, shift right. Step left, hands come in and up. Shift left as those hands go out. Right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Single whip. Shift. Shift left, step right. Push, turn, separate, following that left hand. Shift left, bring that right foot, right hand back, waving hands in clouds. Step, switch, turn, shift, 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 step, switch, turn, to the middle for open and close. Single whip, shift right, step left, push, turn, separate, following that right hand. Shift right, bring that left foot and hand back, waving hands in clouds. Step, switch, turn, shift, 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 step, switch, turn, to the middle for open and close. And close it out. So saying all the words takes more time than it should take. It just takes time to say the words. So the movement slows down a little bit. So let's do the movements just saying the names of them. All right, here we go. And commence. Open and close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open, close, and close it out. Any questions about those movements? I mean, we should be pretty good at these. That doesn't mean we're perfect.
Yeah, I'm a lot better than I was a month or two ago.
I know. You think about the very first time we ever did it, it was like, I don't know how to do all that at the same time with moving hands and moving feet and trying to think about all those principles. You know, it's just too much to take in at once. So now as we get better and better at it, we can just switch it up and let it serve us how we need it to. Now, I kind of had this revelation about the single whip in terms of our stance. So, you know, we talk about a stable stance where our feet are about shoulder width apart. You have that nice soft bend in our knee, and that helps us absorb movement. If anybody were to bump into us, that would help us absorb it. When we do that, and I talk about this, feet side by side being a stable stance, but another stable stance would be what we call a staggered stance. And that's where one foot is a little further up than the other. Soft bend. It could be the right foot in front of the, or out further than the left, or vice versa. But that's called a staggered stance. Just like when we step out to do that knee, that punching that we talked about, you asked about a while ago. That's a nice staggered stance. It's a very stable stance. It's that same stance that boxers use when they're, you know, boxing. You know, sumo wrestlers do more like this, but that's nice, stable stance. Well, when we do that single whip, that's kind of what we're putting our bodies into, is a staggered stance. So we shift the weight and we step out and we adjust the weight. And look, we're at a staggered stance. So that's a very stable stance as we do our single whip. So I was just thinking about that as we move. And I'm like, hey, look, there's the staggered stance. When I was first taught single whip, I was told to step out at a 45-degree angle. And that's different than a staggered stance here. A little bit different, right?
Right.
But to me, the angle feels a little bit more twisted. It doesn't feel as stable as if we just go into a staggered stance. So I feel safer here than here. My joints feel more supported here than here. Just think about how you place your body, not just in Tai Chi class, but out in the world, so that you are supported. You know, we don't want to have our weight on one leg and pop a hip and cause ourselves problems in our hip. We don't want to put our feet too close together and make ourselves feel off balance. Staggered stance or this nice wide stance is a good supportive place for us. All right, let's do it again. This time I will not talk. So maybe we can experience Jing or mental quietness. Just our basic 6, and then we'll go to our some of our advanced moves and check our time. All right, here we go. And commence. How about that?
Very good.
It's so different to do it without the talking. You can just go with it. And I like to think about one principle at the time and go through it several times. So the first time I like to really think about that gentle resistance. That's kind of been my thing lately, is moving through that gentle resistance as I go through. And then I like to go through and just think and make sure I'm breathing through it, that I'm not holding my breath, because that's such a bad habit that we have. And then I've been practicing doing an empty step before I transfer the weight, because I had gotten in a habit of doing continuous movement, because that's in our principle, but I need to step, then shift the weight. And so I was starting to go step, shift, step, shift. I wasn't taking the time to empty step, then shift. So, with each time you practice, you can practice in a different way by what you focus on. And I just think that's the coolest thing about Tai Chi, is when I think about breathing all the way through, then when I get finished, I feel a certain way. When I think about gentle resistance all the way through, then I feel a different way. And it's all based on my focus. And the more you do all the things one at a time, then you can it'll all start coming together. But it doesn't, it does it naturally, but it's still interesting to have a focus. So I may be focused on gentle resistance, but I'm still doing proper weight transfer. I'm still having that upright posture. I'm still doing the other things. So it doesn't mean you're not doing the other things. It's just what you focus on. And man, that goes back to that original message that we started talking about with kind of how important words of affirmation are. What we put in the forefront of our mind affects the way we experience Tai Chi and experience life. So our words and what our focus is really makes a big difference. All right, so not single whip, brush knee. That's our first advanced movement. We're coming open and close, so we're coming here. We are going to the left first. When we do our basic movements, we go to the right and then to the left, and then it's opposite in our advanced movements. So we start with brush knee. Here, weights on both feet. So we are going to, let me get my backwards mind right. I shift left, I turn my right toe in, and I've always called it lay hands. Whenever that's what my upper body does, let me get closer. So it's here, and I've always called it lay hands because it kind of looks like dominoes. Boom. I was reading on the poster. You see, I have my posters out, and brush knee is down here, and it doesn't matter if I point it out to you or not, because you can't read that far anyway. But on brush knee, instead of lay hands, it says right hand stretches out. Okay? So think of it here, lay hands. Okay? Now think your right hand stretches out. Man, that one word made a big difference, didn't it? So it was like, it went from just kind of laying out, being right there in the right place, to, I mean, that felt more powerful to reach it out, didn't it? And so the next thing that we do with our hands, because we're going from facing forward to facing to the left, we reach out. And then what I've always said is, because this hand comes around, and I've often said throw a pitch, but that's not how you throw a pitch anyway. But if you read the poster, and I was reading it to go over it to see what wordings Dr. Lamb uses, he says, I want to make sure I say it right, push. That's what he says. Push. So I'll reach out, and then I'm going to push. You feel that gentle resistance whenever you go through that movement that you might not have had before whenever I said lay hands and throw the pitch. we're saying reach out and push. Man, that makes a difference in the use of your muscles. So I'm always learning better ways to say things and reach out, but still it is like laying our hands. That's kind of that motion. I'm protecting that elbow, but I'm reaching out, not just placing my hand forward. I'm reaching out. And then when I come, I'm going to go to the side and I'm going to push. And even when I push, I don't go locked. I still keep that soft bend. So always remember that. We never lock our joints. It's push and then there's that follow step. So here's our leg work. We've talked about that upper body, but the leg work is shift left, right toe in. That's when we reach out that right hand. We're going to shift right, prepare our foot, separate those hands, step left, shift as we push, and follow step right. That's our brush knee. And I know we've done it before, but that's reach and push. Think about those words as we do that movement. So again, it's shift left, right toe in and reach. Shift, separate, prepare, step left, shift as I push, and follow step right. So that follow step foot, that right foot, it has no weight on it. All the weight is still on my left leg. So that's our next step that we're going to do, and that step is back. Small step back, and I'm going to turn my hands. So up closer, this is what it looks like from the front. I have pushed, and when I step back and turn hands, that's what that looks like. So I'm turning them so that when I do play the lute, then the hands pass each other until I get to that elbow, and that protects that elbow. And that's the point of that. Because remember, this is all based in a martial art, but it's the slowest fight we're never having. So we have brush knee, shift, right toe in, play hands or reach, shift, separate, prepare, step left, shift as I push, and follow step. Okay, play the lute. Step back right, turn hands, shift as they pass, and follow step left. My feet don't step very big, so I stepped to push and follow step. See, that foot is, it basically went from here to here, just a tiny little step. Now I'm going to step it back, and it goes from here to here. So tiny little step. Shift and follow step. So it went from here to here. Really small steps. If we were to start taking two big steps, then we wouldn't be able to easily move back and forth. And these advanced movements are front and back movements. You know, in our waving hands and clouds, we stepped to the side. Step, shift, step. Shift, step, shift, step. That was a side step. Now we're going step, shift, follow step, forward. Now back, step, shift, follow step. So we step forward, follow step. Now we step back, shift, follow step. The next step is kind of tricky because it's step, step, follow step. So we know our follow step foot is our next foot because it doesn't have weight. So we're going to step, shift, step, shift, step, shift, follow step. Okay, so that's parry, parry, and punch. So we went here at the end of brush knee, play the loop, step back, turn hands, shift as they pass, get to that elbow, follow step left. Now it's parry, punch. Just our feet, I step left, shift, step right, shift, step left, shift, follow step. So right there, I saw it and I picked it up and just put it right back down. That stood for that follow step. What do our hands do in parry punch? Okay, so we just finished play the lute. So we're gonna flip, parry. So those hands pass. Then we're gonna flip, parry. So those hands pass till we get to the elbow. So we came back here, play the lute. Then we flip, parry, flip, parry. Then we put this guard up and take this other hand. It's like we're grabbing flowers out of our back pocket and we're delivering them. Now that's called a punch, but we call it delivering flowers because that just sounds nicer. So parry, parry, and punch. The timing of that movement is thrown kind of off because everything else is kind of dun, 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 dun. So this one's going to go dun, 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 dun. So there's that extra little step in there. Once we gather that, we're kind of home free because then we get to go block and close, which we come back, step, shift, follow step, and then push the tiger where we step forward, shift, follow step. We're facing this way. Now we come to the front and open and close. So let's do all that. I know I'm kind of just throwing it out there to you, but sometimes it's nice to just throw it at you and then go, okay, let's go pick it all back up. So here we go through our advanced 6 to the left. Again, let me get my backwards thinking right. Shift left, right toe in, reach, shift, separate, prepare, step, shift and push, follow step, play the loop, step back, turn hands, shift as they pass to that elbow, follow step, parry punch, step left, flip, shift and parry, step right, flip, shift and parry, step left, put up that guard, shift as you deliver and follow step, block and close, step back right, separate hands, shift as they come down here by your hips, follow step left, push the tiger, step left, shift as you push those hands up, follow step right. Now let's come to the front. We step right, shift, step left, hands face, open and close. And close it out. So that's our advanced 6 to the left. Now we just have to do it to the right. Easy peasy, right?
Yes.
No big deal. These are some of the videos that I'll be working on when our class ends. I always think I have more time than what I do have. Let's go ahead and give our legs a good punch. Tell them thank you for working so hard. But I always think I have so much time to do everything, and I just haven't. So when this class ends, I'm going to start really working on some videos of our advanced 6. I know I have the movements all together, and I know I have a video of brush knee, but I need to do that video for each of the movements. And I'm going to be working on that as well as part 2, because I have an in-person class that's doing part 2 right now. That may be something you're interested in learning one day, no rush. But they're doing that, and so they've requested a video. So I'll be working on that. All right, let's tense up and let it go. And know that tension is not the life for us. Let it go. And big circle up and down. Inhale up and down. One more. We have our right fist that represents our strength. Our left hand fingers together represents our friendship. Our thumb in, our humility. Putting those together in mutual respect, we say namaste. So thank you, Mr. James. It's good to spend another Tuesday afternoon with you.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what happened to the rest of us. But
that's all right. Maybe they'll come next week.
But it's starting to get a lot easier, you know.
I love to hear that. And we'll keep working on it. All right. Well, let me know if I can do anything for you. I hope you have a good week.
Yeah, same to you.
All right. Love you, Mr. James.
Yeah, love you back. Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.